What's happening, everyone? The political earthquake just keeps getting stronger, and today we're diving into some massive developments that are reshaping the global landscape. Let me start with what's exploding right now in America, because this is absolutely wild. If you're new here, I'm Andrew Meatrich. I used to work inside a state-run media outlet, saw how stories were twisted to fit the narrative, and I walked away. Now I'm independent, I speak freely, and I tell you what really matters. Donald Trump just dropped a bombshell that has the establishment shaking in their boots. In a recent television appearance, the president announced the launch of a massive investigation targeting billionaire financier George Soros and his entire network of organizations. Trump declared, "We're going to investigate George's activities because there's a RICO case against him and other people." But here's where it gets really intense. Trump is accusing Soros of financing, training, and radicalizing young people, fueling criminal actions and extremism. Both George and his son Alex are being blamed for financing what Trump calls unlimited protests across U.S. territory and attempting to destabilize the political situation. Think about this for a moment. We're witnessing a direct confrontation with arguably the most influential oligarch on the planet, someone who has placed his puppets in many countries around the world. This is going to be an epic battle, and there's no other way to describe it. If you're finding this as jaw-dropping as I am, smash that like button and subscribe, because we're just getting started. Consider becoming a channel sponsor too. It means the world to me and helps keep this independent voice alive. Now, Trump is also making some interesting moves regarding international sanctions. He posted on social media that he's ready to impose serious sanctions against Russia, but only if all NATO countries do the same and stop buying Russian oil. He's demanding NATO countries impose tariffs on China ranging from 50 to 100%. Here's the thing that's got me scratching my head. European leaders are reportedly refusing to introduce such tariffs, and Trump is calling this out as blatant double standards. Experts are split on Trump's real intentions here. Some think he's deliberately making these demands knowing Europeans will refuse, which would remove questions about why the United States isn't implementing similar tariffs. Others believe Trump genuinely wants to push Russian energy off the global market and is pressuring Europe, India, and China to make it happen. But let's talk about something that's going to make your blood boil. We just witnessed an incredible tragedy that's igniting a movement. The widow of the legendary Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, appeared on television and delivered a speech that will go down in history. Fighting back tears and barely containing her natural emotions, she addressed her husband's attacker directly. "You have no idea what you've unleashed, what fire you've ignited in this widow. This widow's cries will sound like a battle cry around the world, not just in the USA. Erica promised that campus discussions at universities will now intensify like never before. The awakening of young people from the information manipulation they've been subjected to is about to explode." Now let me take you across the pond to Britain, where something absolutely incredible just happened. An unprecedented number of people gathered in London for a massive right-wing rally, not only to show the world their opposition to the British government's policies, but also to honour the already legendary Charlie Kirk. The organisers announced that such a massive gathering had never been assembled in the entire history of Britain. Never. The official numbers from authorities and their puppet media are, as usual, underestimated, but people believe their own eyes, not the stories they're being fed. The demonstrators carried flags with various slogans, including "Stop the Boats," which was a call to halt illegal migration. They also carried banners saying "Unite the Kingdom" and "Rest in Peace, Charlie Kirk." This massive turnout showed that Britain stands on the threshold of change. People and their hearts are demanding transformation. But here's where the hypocrisy gets really thick. Britain is once again raising questions about social media, and a scandal is brewing that's exploding across social platforms and making headlines everywhere. Right-wing party leader Nigel Farage, who everyone knows by now, is demanding decisive action from police. The reason was predictable. He's constantly receiving threats that are openly published on TikTok and other social networks. Farage angrily states, "Let's see if the police will arrest these people. If not, then we live in a two-faced Britain because other people are persecuted when they criticize government policy on social media." Farage believes the police are acting selectively. He immediately recalled the recent case of Irish comedy writer Graham Linehan, who was detained at Heathrow Airport. 5 armed police officers arrested him for sarcastic posts on social network X. According to the right-wing politician, if you can be arrested for jokes, then direct threats should face the same measures. Otherwise, it's a clear sign of double standards. We'll see how they continue to ignore unacceptable words directed at right-wing politicians. But here's something fascinating. The British royal family is now in full swing, preparing to ceremoniously welcome Donald Trump. The visit program includes a carriage parade, state banquet, military aviation flyover, and ceremonial salute. Donald Trump and his wife Melania will be met by Prince William and Duchess Kate. As explained for everyone, the royal family wants to demonstrate its diplomatic influence. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has enlisted the royal family to strengthen contacts with Washington. Starmer himself can't influence many aspects. That's obvious. Therefore, experts believe there's hardly another leader in the world who has the same influence on Donald Trump as the British monarch. Donald Trump himself, after receiving a letter from the king with an invitation for a state visit, declared, "Isn't this beautiful?" He's a beautiful person, a wonderful person. Whether Donald Trump was being sincere about the king or this was trolling at the highest level is hard to say yet. Everything will become clear when Donald Trump arrives in London. We'll be watching. Hit that like button if you're as fascinated by these royal power plays as I am, and let me know in the comments what you think about this royal Trump connection. Meanwhile, in France, the crisis is intensifying like never before. One of the three largest international rating agencies in the world, Fitch Ratings, which evaluates the creditworthiness of states, banks, companies, and even municipalities, has downgraded France's ratings against the backdrop of political crisis. They announced to the whole world that France's growing national debt limits its ability to cope with new shocks without further deterioration of public finances. This was a signal primarily for investors to think carefully. Experts also see no improvements after the 2027 elections, not even a hint of the slightest improvement in France. But let's shift to something that's absolutely mind-blowing from the European Union. At a meeting of European authorities, namely Ursula von der Leyen and European automotive industry leaders, Brussels authorities firmly confirmed their commitment to environmental goals for 2035. Despite everything, the future belongs to electric vehicles. That was the decision announced. It's no secret that the European automotive industry is experiencing a sales decline caused primarily by high energy prices, growing competition from China, and generally unfavorable trading environment due to new tariffs from the USA. For example, in Germany, about 3,200,000 people are directly or indirectly employed in the automotive industry and parts manufacturing. A significant part of the gross domestic product is also connected to the automotive industry. Internal combustion engines continue to remain the foundation of this value creation process. Therefore, they hope that Brussels could soften its requirements and completely abandoning internal combustion engines would be postponed to better times. But despite everything, the future belongs to electric vehicles. It cannot be otherwise. The European Union Automotive Summit chose electric cars. At the European Union level, a ban on using internal combustion engines in corporate fleets and rental cars from 2030 is currently being discussed. Since this ban will affect about 60% of the new car market, it will actually mean earlier termination of internal combustion engine use. These are today's known realities that you can't escape from either. But before we wrap up, let me tell you about something that's crazier than any movie plot. Despite round-the-clock security, a premium-class Lexus was stolen directly from the residence of Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk. How the security, and these are the best of the best, failed to notice that a car was being stolen from the government head's residence is very difficult to say right now. After the theft, naturally, all services in Poland were mobilized. The thief, a 41-year-old resident of Sopot City, where Donald Tusk's cottage is located, was detained while attempting to fly to Bulgaria. The car was found abandoned in a Gdansk parking lot, with changed license plates. This is how things happen in our time too. These are today's informational moments that speak volumes about the state of our world. Look, we're living through absolutely unprecedented times, from Trump taking on Soros directly, to Britain rising up in massive protests, to France's economy cracking under pressure, and even Polish prime ministers getting their cars stolen from under their noses. The old order is crumbling, and something new is being born before our eyes. If this analysis opened your eyes to what's really happening behind the headlines, hit that subscribe button and consider becoming a channel sponsor. Your support keeps this independent voice alive and fighting for the truth. Share this with everyone who needs to understand what's really going on. The awakening is happening, and we're just getting started.